Okay, so here's another thing that British people do.
Okay.
You all say amen the same way. It's amen.
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 Come, Holy Spirit.
Hello, and welcome back to Circles and Spaces, the podcast, which is for youth leaders, people in youth ministry spaces, for real, authentic conversations. It is the greatest joy, genuinely, to invite my friends, my fellow youth workers,
Thank
my
you.
fellow men in ministry,
Wow.
We're here.
my brothers,
Wow.
Anything else?
Keithen and Jordan,
Wow.
to the podcast.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it's so good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being on it.
All the way from the
I
USA.
know. I'm going to dive in. Tell me a
Let's
little
do
bit
it.
about yourself, your context. Who are you? What
Yeah.
do you
Do
do?
you want to get started? Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I think people want to hear from you first.
Oh, okay. Sweet. So my name is Keithen Schwahn, and I live in New York City. We live on the Upper West Side. There's this little rectangle of glory that's in between Central Park on the east in Manhattan and then the Riverside Park on the west. And so we live right there. I've got a wife named Celeste and a little 18-month-old boy named Powell, and they are just a joy. Like, I absolutely love them. So I live in New York and I lead students there. Actually, Jordan was the one who connected me with this church in New York City. No, it's just,
can't do it.
except that that's just actually what happened. So Jordan helped me to find this church that was looking to start a youth ministry in Manhattan. And looking for someone crazy enough to try to do something that really hadn't been done in a lot of years. And so I moved there, and we're about 3.5 years into that project.
Amazing.
And God's doing really cool stuff. So yeah, but it's fun to be over in London with you guys. Yeah, that's me.
Jordan.
Yeah, so I'm Jordan. I live in Holland, Michigan.
Amazing.
I have 4 kids and my wife, Amy. And I met Keithen. Oh, so I work for Alpha. I oversee Alpha Youth for the USA. And Keithen was actually one of the first people I met because I heard, oh, there's stuff happening in Portland. You should just go hang out in Portland. I was like, oh, cool. So I flew over to Portland, hung out with Keithen, and we were about to go film a story, and that totally fell through. Everything fell through.
Yep.
And then, but I met Keithen, and I actually met someone who had met and even probably surpassed my curiosity around the Lord, around ministry, what God's up to. And I was just like, all right, this is good.
It was crazy. I just found out it was it was Jordan's first trip ever working as the Alpha Youth staff. So
sick.
I was like at the beginning of his time in Alpha,
Yeah, wow.
but then
fresh.
I was just taking over a youth ministry and really starting to innovate and ask questions about why do we do what we do? And if we just keep running the youth ministry play in America, are we actually turning out burning disciples or not? And if the answer to that is no, then you have to ask really hard questions about why are we doing what we're doing and be willing to make really hard pivots. And so I had heard about this thing called Alpha that was just like innovating evangelism for young people, more around conversation and going through a journey and having space for doubt and conversation. And so it was like perfect for my context in Portland. And so, yeah, it was kind of a coming together, like a partnership at a really crucial moment for both of us that then we just grew a friendship, but then just a partnership that we've been kind of working together for a while.
So Keithen had the courage to do what every youth leader knew we should have been doing.
Yeah.
And he just happened to have the courage to go for it. I had this radical burning bush moment where I used to operate in a paradigm of father, son, and strategy, and that blew up, and I realized, oh, the Holy Spirit's a thing. I need to pay attention, and it was crazy. And then that made my curiosity go like 1,000x, and I'm like,
Wow.
and I, to the point where I'm like, I'm reading the Bible differently. It's like, how was that in there?
Right.
Why did I never read that before? I've never seen that before.
Right.
And so anyway, he's the first guy I met, youth minister, that I felt like, oh, his curiosity matches mine. And so we struck a friendship up, and we've been talking to each other for 7 years?
Yeah.
7 years?
Yeah. And I think the burning thing for us is like, we just can't run the playback. Like to stay where we are just means perpetual decline and losing traction with young people. So not only just for like, how do we run a good youth ministry, but I think we also just both believe in the future of the church so much that we're willing to try and innovate with the people who will embody the future of the church, if that makes sense.
And we would probably both together say, actually this emerging generation is a prophetic voice calling the whole church back to its ancient roots.
Totally.
And there's this space that we have to hold to be like, there is more here. What God is doing here is for everyone if we will let it live within our context.
Yeah, and I think that's something too of like the longer that you're in youth ministry, you might feel this, Molly, of like sometimes you can be the like the cute little side project that even you know, good,
A side project
loving
is actually nice. It's almost like the forgotten stepchild.
Yeah. But what can happen is that like even, you know, senior leaders that have like a really good heart to see the future of the church raised up and whatever can kind of treat forming young people like a side priority rather than the burning heart of the church itself.
For sure.
And that's something that for me, I've been thinking a lot about the LDS church actually.
Yeah.
And the Mormon church doesn't see youth ministry as someone's like job or like oh, well, we give a bunch of money like to the youth ministry.
Yeah.
The church itself exists to form people at the most pivotal moment of a young person's formation, which is between like 11 to 18 years old. And so but for me thinking like, what if the whole of the church, not a youth pastor, not a youth ministry, what if the whole of the church was like, it is our inheritance to form young people? Like think about the difference of investment, of mentorship, of relationship, of passing on truth. And so I think that we, by professionalizing and siloing youth ministry, that's like a side thing of the church, we've totally gutted the mission from the beginning, which is kind of, so recognizing that it's like, okay, so that's happening, that's happened. So then how do we then move the conversation about youth formation to the center rather than the fringe? So that's kind of what,
And it's hard because how do you lead when you're not in charge in a lot of ways?
Totally.
Yeah.
But yet what God's doing right now is deepening this conviction and a stirring that something is different. There's something on the horizon. And actually it's here with Gen Z, Gen Alpha. And so if you're a youth minister thinking like, oh yeah, I've had this conversation, I don't really know what to do with it. It's like, hey, take hope. Like God's doing something. He's fighting, he's going before us and he's fighting battles that we don't even know exist.
Yeah, wow.
And right now, every senior leader that I have a conversation with, their heart is so stirred toward, what do I do? And when they're vulnerable enough to have the conversation, like, what do I do? And it's beautiful because it's like
it's an admission of I don't know what to do.
It's an admission of I don't know what to do, but also it's for youth ministers. We get to play the role of integrating a generation into the whole of the church for the revitalization of the church.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with a guy, and he had this illustration that I love now. And he was a guy from Norway. He was on team with Exponential. Anyway, he was talking to his mentor, and he told me, he's like, young people, so those up to 34, he would say up to 34, are similar to the tip of the arrow. But 34 to 60 is basically that shaft.
Yeah.
And then the feathers that actually on the arrow that guides it, that steer it, are the 60
elders.
plus.
Yes.
And so you need the wisdom and the strength and then that tenacity to press in, you know, with the... And it's like, and then he says
that will stick with me for the rest of my life.
Well,
so thank you for that. That's a good one.
Have you heard that before? No, I was like,
that's a good one.
Well, there's I'm still trying to like process it.
Yeah,
and
I
like,
think
there's
I need
more
that.
to this. But he's like, every church is a 3-generation church. We just have to be intentional about cultivating that 3-generation church. And we all need each generation to play their part.
That's so good. I mean, think about like, what is an arrow if it doesn't have an arrowhead? It's like a stick with some feathers, right? Yeah,
that's what I give my kids.
But what is an arrowhead without like the shaft? What with the feathers? It's like you got a rock and some feathers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. But then if you just have a stick of wood and an arrowhead
without the
with
feathers,
no guidance,
it's like that's hitting something. That's not going to be good. Like it's not going to be good.
Well, dude, I mean that's a word to like churches that just don't have any like elder wisdom in it
exactly.
too.
So
like there's a danger because I think in the moment that's like, oh, Gen Z's got the momentum, just build a church of Gen Z. It's like, but if they don't have the guiding wisdom, it's actually, it can be like destructive.
It's just more of the same,
right?
And so like if you're in youth ministry, there's like what a time to be in youth ministry.
For real.
Because you could step in and say, what if we went back to the original model? And was like, yes, God's doing something amazing around Gen Z, Gen Alpha. But what if it's for the whole church? And we can reestablish something that was the original blueprint of this. And it could be really beautiful. And I think in youth ministers, we probably by nature have to go first, run first, because we're working with this emerging generation. But we can carry the wisdom to how to best integrate and bring the whole of the church to like its beauty. And
Right.
I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but there's something that we as youth ministers, our call is not, well, our assignment may be youth ministry, but our call could be to the church.
Yes.
And how we can best bring this generation to find their home and fulfillment in the church, but then also have that leak over into all generations.
Yes, well, and I think that's a huge key to longevity in this, because if youth pastors see themselves as like, oh, well, my job is to just kind of like dink around with the teenagers until I can actually be a
Dink
part.
around. What does dink around mean?
Yeah, so can you define that for the Brits in the room?
It means like entertain. Entertain.
Tell
just
me
like,
the worst thing.
like do
tell me the worst
skits.
entertainment thing you've ever done.
I will in a second. Let me finish my point.
Sorry.
But I'm talking about longevity, because like if we think that our job is to just like be a funny sideshow to entertain teenagers while the real church takes ground, then no wonder we churn over people. Because this is why, like, I never wanted to be in youth ministry. I never wanted to, because I actually wanted to move the ball forward in the future of the church. But how sad that my paradigm in my mind was that everything other than youth ministry is actually the thing that moves the ball forward in the future of the church. Like, that's so counterintuitive, but we've so like trivialized and patronized youth ministers that people don't see this as a legit thing to give your life to. And I feel like what the Lord's kindness on me is giving me a vision that like I have a part to play. I mean, I've been in this for a decade. You know, most youth ministers are in this for 2 years, maybe. So, but the thing that's given me the longevity is exactly what you're talking about. And I think people like you helped me to see, if you were to zoom out and look at this moment in history in the church in the West, where is the fulcrum of where I should put the fullness of my energy and attention? And I think it's actually it's young people, because like if we don't see a generation raised up and empowered, we actually perpetuate decline.
Totally.
We're like seeing so much at the moment of like statistics about like Gen Z, and it's all over the news, it's all over everywhere, particularly here in the UK. I can't speak for the
No,
States.
it's true in the same. Yeah.
But how do we like respond to that? Like, we're seeing it, but how do we actually like respond to it?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I think of John 4 when Jesus says, you have this saying, it's 4 months until harvest. But I tell you, open your eyes, for the fields are ripe for harvest. And when Jesus says you have a saying, it's 4 months till harvest, it was like a rural Galilean farming term that basically meant the time between planting a seed in the ground and harvest was about 4 months. So they would say that as a shorthand of like, hey, chill out. Hey, just take your time. Like we got all the time in the world. Just like kick back, don't worry about it. It kind of meant that. So Jesus pulls this cultural term of like, hey, chill out. He says, oh, you think that this might be a moment where you say to people like, oh, chill out. And even looking at statistics of growth in the church, it could be a moment where we say, look, we're winning. Chill out. Hey, 4 months till harvest. It's 4 months till harvest. Like kick back. But I think Jesus says, open your eyes, for the fields are ripe for harvest. So I think that what we're seeing is, and when you grow up or you live in an urban context, all these agricultural metaphors are lost on us. Seeing fruit on the vine doesn't mean we're winning. You know what I mean? It literally means like if you don't gather fruit and then either preserve it in some way, or you start to eat it, to use it, I mean, it'll go bad. So Jesus is saying the fields are ripe for harvest. So we actually need to respond and go. This is a time to double down in investment to young people, not sit back and say, look how great the small upticks in attendance are and stuff. And, I think the Quiet Revival study from the Bible Society puts, 4% of young people attending church in 2018, and that number being up to 16% right now, which is incredible growth. I mean, it is the reversal of decline that we've been praying for. And yet at the same time, I think instead of patting ourselves on the back for a 16, I think, when Jesus in that John 4, he says, my food is to do the will of the Father and to finish his work. And I just think there's an 84% of finishing the work of God. That means that, Jesus' vision is every person on earth confessing him as Lord. So I just think this is a moment to go, not retreat.
Yeah,
That's where my mind goes.
And the thing is, and what's happening here in the UK is definitely happening in the States as well.
Amazing.
And there is this openness. And here's the thing: none of us can generate waves. Only the Lord can generate waves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that means only the Lord can stir people's hearts.
Yeah, great.
And however, we can ride the wave.
Yeah.
And right now, we're in a moment. It was is the church ready to ride the wave? And for the States, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I really hope so, but I don't really know. And so basically, as we think about how do we best ride the wave, there's a couple things. We have to be far less focused on being interesting and become more interested in young people. And we have to also be far less focused on trying to be understood and try to be understanding.
Yes.
And those are I know semantic-y, but those are key
Helpful.
shifts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And on top of that, our current paradigms in the States of youth ministry, they just don't work.
They don't work.
They don't work.
They don't work.
They haven't been working for a while. And now as God's stirring this something in young people, actually the secularism bubble for all young people has basically popped.
Yes.
What secularism
Right.
offered.
What it promised. Yes.
What secularism what secularism offered, young people are basically saying, that's not true.
Didn't pay out.
I can't go with that anymore.
Yep.
I've tasted too much in my life that says that that's not true.
Yep.
And then now they're saying, okay, well, what about this? What about religion or Jesus? And they're open. And sometimes that means they're going to start flooding into our churches. That's not true.
Right. Well, I was on
it's not true.
I was on the subway a couple weeks ago, and I saw there was an ad that was targeting Gen Z young people.
Yeah.
It was a budgeting app to help young people manage their money.
Yeah.
And the number one option of a budgeting line item for this Gen Z ad was crystals.
Yeah, classic.
And so,
yeah.
right? Because it's they're searching for something. Just because you have spiritual openness doesn't mean devotion to Jesus.
And
so
fully.
I think it's an awareness of there may be a heightened sense of it's more than the physical.
Yeah.
But I think it's,
And the
we
thing
can't make
for
that
us
assumption.
is how do we best move their openness
Yes.
to curiosity around the person of Jesus?
Yep.
And that only happens with love
Yeah.
and a deep reliance in the Spirit.
Yeah.
Because only the Lord can change the human heart.
Yeah, great.
And so that's
Right.
something that in the church in the West and also in the States, it's we have to learn how to better love, but also we fear the Spirit because we love control. And it's kind of this weird, we love our control. It's Jesus' church anyway. So, and actually I think that this, I don't know what you feel. I'd be curious what you feel about this, Keithen, but something that Lord's stirring in my heart lately for the States is Jesus is taking back what's his. And I think it is generational, but it's also the church.
Yeah.
It's this is mine.
Yeah, wow.
And for us, we have to abandon control, abandon the outcome. I'm speaking to the people in the States. I don't know, in UK, I don't live here, but we need to, rather than predict and control, we need to seek and obey.
Wow.
And if we were to do that, young people will come in droves.
Yeah, great.
So anyway, that's kind of the reality of the open gen.
No, it's great. Can we follow up with how do we remain urgent and ready, but in a sustainable way within this?
Yeah. Our lead pastor in New York, John Tyson, he's been saying recently that, the antidote to burnout is not just more rest. Because I think that was that was kind of a common thing of hey, just rest, do more rest things. And he's been saying, I think that the antidote to burnout is actually wholeheartedness and finding exactly what God has asked you to do, and then give your whole heart to it in a way that you're such an alive person while doing the thing that God's asked you to do, that you almost get lost in it.
Wow.
And I feel an insight that I've been given often is just the freedom to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
So if I think okay, I work in youth ministry and university ministry, and therefore I have to do this, and this. I mean, the job description of most youth pastors is an impossible job.
Yeah, wow.
It's a job that is set up for a level of turnover because, you have no life boundaries. You have no weekends. You have no nothing. It's just it's grind,
kids.
grind,
Yeah.
everything, have kids, totally. And so I just find that for me, I got to think, how do I not just like run the predictable play of American youth ministry or whatever the expectations are, but how do I, with my life and my heart and my bandwidth, give the best that I've got to form burning young people? And then if you do that, you find a wholeheartedness because you're not on the hamster wheel of expectations.
Yeah, good.
But I've been given the gift of like my leaders above me also have seen that the play doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so that's been a gift to me. And I know that like there may be some of you listening that like you don't feel the permission to create and innovate or to build a life that is sustainable. And so that's a very real tension that I think a lot of people have to manage. But for me, I would say if I was speaking to a young person that's like, okay, I'm a youth pastor and I want to do this for the long haul, I would say figure out how to, as you and as like naturally as your heart and your wiring and your gifting, give your whole heart to forming young people, not just like stay on the hamster wheel. Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
We talked about dings. I think, was it dings?
Dinks?
Dings.
Dinking around.
I was trying. Is that the right word? But yeah, we talked about it. So the intro for the podcast is like real, authentic, raw, honest.
Yeah.
Dink around.
Can you give me like something that you've learned from? Because you said you've been in youth ministry for 10 years.
I want to know your like number one, like, man, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, please, if you can.
And let's like give all the glory to the American Youth Ministry. Like, let's go there. Like, and be like, I can't believe we did that.
Oh man.
This is like Chubby Bunny, but then there's other things too, you know.
Yeah.
Did you guys do that in the UK? Chubby Bunny?
Is that the marshmallows in the cheeks?
Yeah.
Basically, it's a choking hazard where kids will literally die. It's like, yeah, that one.
Okay.
So
That's actually
okay.
true.
Don't use that game. Don't use that game.
Yeah, don't use Chubby
Any other
Bunny.
games are available.
I've got a lot, but do
Actually-
you have one off rip?
Oh yeah.
Okay, go off rip.
Okay, legit.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, like legit games. We need to have fun in our youth ministries, but games. I'm finding less and less young people are like, I want the games. You know,
It's true.
It's they would rather have fun with each other and relationships, stuff like that. But they don't want like the Taco Bell Olympics. You know, it's like,
Yeah, totally.
do you guys have Taco Bell here?
I think we do. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I laughed.
I don't know how to explain that one.
No, she's just like imagining what that
we
could
do
mean. Yeah.
in like service stations.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not high street, but anyway, carry on.
So the worst one I did. Okay, so I won't do a game one, but I'll tell you one that I did that I was just like, that was a fail. So we had, okay, just context.
Yeah.
So we had like a suburb of Chicagoland area running a youth ministry. It was a multi-site church. And we had about 1,500 students in our youth ministry. And we gathered all of the middle schoolers and high schoolers together. It's like the student fall kickoff. And I was preaching on like being the light of the world. And I had this epic idea of dropping like LED beach balls from the stage because we were in an auditorium. And it's like, this is going to be a moment. It's like everyone's going to love and be like, the beach balls, like party. And anyway, what happened was I, talked being the light of the world, blah, blah, blah. And we dropped all these, it was like 100 LED beach balls from the catwalk because we had a catwalk. And as they started dropping, the LEDs were going. Literally, I saw all of the middle schoolers turn into like rabid beasts and they grabbed the LED beach ball, bit it, take the LEDs out and started sticking them in their nose, their ear. Like, and I literally was like, moment lost. We're done.
Lord have
We are
mercy.
done. I walked off the stage so dejected. But anyway, like that was one moment. I mean, there's so many other things we did that I was like, we spent so much energy on
I know.
the stuff that like didn't matter.
Yeah, wow.
It's true.
And
It's funny stories, but
What?
so it was like camp. So we would like you'd host camp as like a character. So one of them we were bodybuilders from the 80s and we had like mullets. We wore like Captain Hook.
Like
Hook.
there was a meeting designed just for this.
Yeah,
Like, what
it
do we
was.
do?
There totally was. Yeah, so we wore like sweatbands and leotards and mullets, and we'd come out to like shredding like Metallica music, and we'd like do little skits and then kind of lead into the games or whatever. One of the years, our characters were Hans and Franz. And we
Please tell me Jordy was Hans.
No, it was Matthew Comer actually. And so we were basically like EDM DJs on the weekends, and we ran the Spotted Ox Hostel, which was like the coolest hostel in all of Europe.
Yep.
And
this was a world.
We wore blonde
blonde
wigs and just came out to like EDM music. It was just So that was and then one more that I'll do is so we did pool Olympics, which sounds like a good idea. Pool Olympics, right? Just on the nose.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good idea. We did a belly flop contest and had this girl that was just kind of like, just never really been like in church. And, but she was like, I want to do the belly flop contest. We're like, okay, yeah, sick. So we like send him out on the diving board. It's like, it's the low one, but it's still, you can get some air.
Oh, no.
And she, like jumps and just like perfect, like star and just like, smack, and it's like it like reverberates so loud, and then she gets up out of the water and just screams the F word, just screaming expletives, and the whole of camp is just listening to her.
Clap.
Just
was it the slow
and
clap?
it was like, okay, thank you. And then you've got your like 11-year-old boys like looking at their cabin leader. They're like, what does that mean? What's that word? What's that word?
Can I use that
Oh,
word?
that's the next session.
Yeah, that's like
Wow.
Anyway,
Great.
Don't do those things.
Yeah, don't do
Have
those
fun.
things. We've learned from the failures, the successes.
Do you guys talk about those things? Like
what those sorts of things?
The things what
Never
not
that.
to
I've
do?
never done a belly flop contest.
Oh yeah.
I think I'd be that girl though. Maybe not.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Thank the Lord for sanctification.
Yeah,
redemption.
so funny.
I honestly could carry on talking for ages, but I think that's all we've got
Okay,
time for.
next
today.
episode we'll like actually
Yeah.
interview you. I want to hear stuff from
Well,
you. So hey,
guys, catch
you
it
heard
here
it here,
next time.
Circles and Spaces. We want to interview Molly Toms next time.
There you go. You heard it here first. Season 2, season 3, season 4, whatever season we're on, you'll catch it. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching Circles and Spaces. Thank you so much, Jordan,
Yep.
Keithen, for being on it.
Yep, you're welcome.
You can like, follow, subscribe along, especially if we're going to have this interview once more time.
Smash that like button.
Thanks for joining. Bye.